Evanston. Is it at the high school?
Yes. And we just sing four things. However, one of them was hard, I have to say.
Oh, is that right?
And our rehearsal times were cut, because of COVID. So.
Well, this is the one that Wilson made and gave me for the installation. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh.
It's from a that she got from Chapman. She do. No, this is a belt that she got. It's hand stitched. And then she created the bag. The bag is. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I really treasure it.
Yeah, it looks faintly. Also, looks faintly
Interesting. Oh, I don't know. Like just the colors or? Uh-huh.
Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. My name is Jane Kenamore, and whether this is your spiritual home or you're seeking comfort and connection in uncertain times, we are very happy you are with us. We are an inclusive and welcoming community seeking truth and love and striving to nurture the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values that remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. Together, let us remember our kinship with one another, and may we hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention. A few announcements. First of all, please note that our YouTube live stream has several connecting links, including the order of service credits, ways to support our mission, and how to be added to our email newsletter list. Today, we have something new. We will be singing together for the first time. Yay! But we're only going to be singing the last hymn at the end of the service. So just please note that, and if you would rather be in a non-singing space, room 6 is open for live streaming the service. And also for all of us everywhere, please be sure to keep our well-fitting masks over your nose and mouth throughout the service. After the worship service, we will have a 20-minute kinship time. Please greet one another and especially say hi to those people that you don't know. And stop by the Fair Trade cart next to the mural in the back to purchase Fair Trade coffee, chocolate, and other yummy and beautiful items. Proceeds from the Fair Trade cart go to Connections for the Homeless this year. After kinship at 11:35, we will have 2 options for faith formation. Our storyteller, Greg Tertullien, will offer a story workshop here in the sanctuary, and we'll have carol singing out by the Black Lives Matter sign. Both activities will go on until about 12:30, and nursery care is available in room 11 throughout the morning. And finally, the Christmas Eve service will be at 7 p.m. in person and on YouTube live stream. Reverend Eileen has a special request. If you have had a baby born in your family, child, grandchild, child of a relative, please send in the names of these children, and if you like, include a photograph. These will be shared on Christmas Eve, and you can send them directly to Reverend Eileen via email. Welcome to worship.
Good morning. Our opening reading is by Alfred S. Cole. We have a promise to keep, which we made long ago in the silvery light of a star at the manger of a child.
Earth has resounded with the harsh cries of hate, and our hand has been raised against our neighbors.
We have a promise to keep, for that song of peace and goodwill from the midnight skies is faint and far away.
We still seek our neighbor across the frowning walls of fear, for deep in our heart is the hunger for peace.
Once again, across the long years sounds that sweet old song, and from out our haunted sleep we wake to listen and bow down.
How long, O messenger of peace, shall we keep you waiting outside the closed doors where people trade their souls for power and gold?
Your dream, O messenger of peace, shines in our hearts today. The light from your star streams into our souls, and hope is born anew.
Day by day, the light shall grow, and year by year, the shadows shall fade away.
Voices of peace and goodwill, long stifled by the bitter cries of hate, sound again.
That midnight song of long ago shall fall upon the earth like a gentle mantle of snow.
The Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on the traditional homelands of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. This land was recorded as being transferred from the local Potawatomi community to the U.S. government in the 1829 Treaty of Prairie du Chien. The government sold the land to white settlers. After decades of violent encroachment by the French, British, and then American white settlers, and the defeat of a pan-Indian movement to keep white settlers out of the Great Lakes region, the Potawatomi community had no choice but to sell before they were forcefully removed west of the Mississippi River. Our faith calls us to name these realities as one small effort toward finding greater accountability, deeper relationship, and mutuality with contemporary Indigenous communities. The state of Illinois is currently home to more than 75,000 tribal members, and the Chicagoland area is home to one of the largest and most diverse urban Native communities in the U.S. We name these in honor and respect for the land which we use as sacred space, for the animals and plants that have been sustained by this land, and for our ancestors and descendants who are and will become part of the earth.
As we light the chalice, please join in saying these words by the late Reverend Gordon B. McKeeman, beloved UU minister who died in 2013. Deep calls unto deep, joy calls unto joy, light calls unto light. Let the kindling of this flame rekindle us in the inner light of love, of peace, and of hope. And as one flame lights another, nor grows the less, we pledge ourselves to be bearers of the light wherever we are. And just a reminder before the next hymn, we won't be singing, but we will instead enjoy the performance of Jen, Kiley, Dale, and Gregory. Thanks. Oh, sorry, I skipped the covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek in truth and love, and to help one another.
morning, everybody. How are we? I'm Greg Tertullien. I'm your storyteller this morning, and I'm going to talk about the joys of music in our lives. Now, there's various ways where joy of music come from music itself. If we're going through a certain time, or we need pop-up music, or we're in the gym, it can come from just making little sounds, tapping on a table, tapping with pencil. I work with kids. They make lots of music sounds during the day, even when they're not supposed to. So I'm going to tell you a story about when I was younger. I think I was either in kindergarten or first grade, and our drama teacher would have us sit on the carpet in a circle. Now we're waiting patiently, wondering what we're doing today, because that's always how we started the day. She'd tell us to sit in a circle, then she would come around with a crate of instruments. Tambourines, triangles, shakers. There was this one instrument with a handle and some ripples and a stick. I never knew the name of it. It was interesting. It was kind of went like that. And there was other like drums, tambourines. So our little bodies were filled with excitement because we're like, ooh, we're going to play some fun instruments. We're going to have some fun. But there was also a little bit of anxiety because we didn't know which instrument we would get. Me particularly, I wanted the loudest and coolest instrument every time. And for some reason, I would like never get that instrument. I always wanted the drum or like something I never had before. I always ended up stuck with the shaker. For some reason, it's like you're picking on me. You want me to have the shaker every time. So I'd get the instrument and I'd sit in a circle, I'd pout a little bit. Then she would start the rhythm and I would just we start off slow. I'm still pouting at this time, but I'm going along with it. I'm like, okay. And she's like, faster. And slowly I'm forgetting I'm sad, but at the same time I'm sad because I still want the drum. And then she says, stop. And I'm like, I forgot why I was upset all of a sudden because the music takes over that emotion, and we're just having so much fun. We're laughing in a circle, and it's like fast, slow, and then we stop, and then we talk about it. It's like, we had some autonomy there to kind of, join in, because like she would start it, but we would, do our own little rhythm to go along with it. So that's also what I did. I'm an improviser and an actor, and in improv and acting, we do lots of activities to like kind of sync our brains together. So there's one particular one we do where it's called ensemble. Now, I went to Evanston Township where I took my first theater class. And in the upstairs theater, we would sit in the rows together. And our teacher would have us, by pointing to every single one of us, kind of make a sound. It could be a sound with a tapping, it could be a sound with clapping, it could be a beep-boo, beep-boo. And one at a time, we would go. Now, with this, he would tell us to go higher, lower, depending on the section we are, and see how that would turn out. It kind of ensemble and bringing us together. We're like our own voice tapping little choir. So I thought we could try that today. So, I'm going to need everybody's help. You can either tap or clap. I'm going to try my best to keep it easy. So we're going to do this section. You'll be together. The middle section and this section will be together, and this section here. All right? So you can either clap or tap. Whatever is easier. So, we're first. Are we ready? Keep it going. Keep it going. I might give you guys a little harder one. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready? Thank you, you guys are beautiful.
I think we could have gone on and on and on with that, right? It was very fun. Thank you, Greg. That was a wonderful connecting story. All right. This is the time in our service when we hold space for our joys and sorrows, those who are gathered here, honoring the struggles and the triumphs and the brokenness and the wholeness that is woven throughout the human experience. If you have a joy or sorrow, which I'm just realizing I forgot to grab the joy and sorrow book, so if anyone wants to run back up here, thank you very, very much. This is our book that we add joys and sorrows to on Sunday mornings. If you have anything you'd like to add, please do that. Thank you, Marcy. Yes, thank you, Marcy.
Yeah, song first.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I totally blew it. Yes, thank you. Thanks. You needed like a flag or something, or flares to stop me. Go ahead. To Henry, I'm so sorry, and if you needed any incentive to attend the Christmas Eve service, Henry will be with us live, so that's exciting. All right, these are the joys and sorrows that have been shared with us today, and if you have ones that you'd like to share, you can always email them to me ahead of time, or put them in this book, or fill out the form that it lives on our website. So Melanie Kitchener writes, I lived in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, when a violent storm brought devastation and many tornadoes very close to our home. My daughter was on campus taking a final exam as I huddled in the laundry room. My heart is with our brothers and sisters in Kentucky and other states. Homes and factories are leveled. Dozens of people are missing and feared dead. And Illinois Governor Pritzker praised first responders in Edwardsville for saving many lives. Love and many blessings to those suffering through this tragedy. From Bob and Barb Mesley, they are delighted to report that President Joe Biden has appointed their niece, Meg McAllister, as EPA Regional Administrator for Region 7, which covers 9 tribal nations and Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, and Nebraska. And also, yeah, that's a hearty congratulations. And Bob had hernia surgery on Wednesday and is recovering well because he's here. Good job. Jen Weisgarver shares a joy. We officially purchased my childhood home in August, and as of 2 weeks ago, my partner and I have our own bedroom without children in it for the first time in almost 7 years. Yeah. It's awesome. The Peters family is over the moon to welcome baby Rocky to the world. Christine writes, I used to be a good aunt, but now I am a great aunt. That is a David Lenzel joke, if I ever heard one. Deborah Daspit and Laura Etchen write, it has been exactly 1 year ago today that I fell and crushed my left tibia. Laura and I are infinitely grateful to the lesbian posse for all they did for us. We would have been lost without you all. Thank you, every single one of you. Ellie Fedderson shares the news that baby Naira was born in Evanston Hospital on December 9th to Sophia Rose Fedderson and Sandeep Guy, and to Ellie and Tim, the grandparents, and Kamala and Kanwal. So congratulations, everyone's happy and healthy. That's very exciting. Congratulations to Sophia. Brennan Baker and Brianna Rotter ask for your thoughts as they struggle with difficult family dynamics and a lack of loving support in their lives. And finally, Kathy Underwood writes, it is with mixed emotions that she shares that her mom died early in the morning of November 29th. Her 4.5-year fight with cancer is over, and she is at peace wherever she is now. Although as a Unitarian, she would respectfully disagree with me that one's spirit or soul lives on. She taught me to live our UU values before our principles were created, and I hope to honor her by living them as best I can. I am checking our live stream just to see that I'm not missing any. Jim Clark, for their son and Linda's elderly sister and brother-in-law are quite ill with COVID, and they are deeply concerned. Yeah. I believe that's all we have. But we know that these are not the only joys or sorrows that are on our hearts that live in this room and live well beyond these walls. There is so much to hold. And so we offer this time for anyone who'd like to come forward and light a candle of joy or sorrow to come forward and light one now. Take that side. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Source of love, spirit of life, creator of common song, we are grateful for your presence in our lives and for the power to heal and guide us. Thank you for accompanying us through our sorrows and fears, enabling us to express ourselves and connect with others across difference and in mutuality. May we strive to resolve the dissonance and struggle in our lives and strive to move toward harmony with one another and with the earth. May we listen to one another, hear the pain and suffering that sometimes echoes forth, and may we hear the subtle sounds of need underneath the tones of anger and despair. Let us be in concert with collective liberation, justice, and compassion in our world. May it begin with us, and may our compassion for ourselves resonate and resound throughout all of our relationships. May we work to bring healing and not harm, love and not fear, joy and not sorrow. May it be so.
There is more love.
UCE is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, whose mission is to advance human rights and social justice around the world, partnering with those who confront unjust power structures and mobilizing to challenge oppressive policies. If you are joining us from home or in the building, you may text to give, mail in a check, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering, pledge, capital campaign, or some other giving. If you are here in the building and have money for the collection plate, please raise your hand. An usher will bring you the collection bowl or box. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy.
Fun. I said, gosh, you guys are fun, if you couldn't hear that. I cannot recall exactly when I first heard the singing tree. I do know it was in the heart of wintertime. It was one of those tired, frozen days when any sound of life is a welcome respite from the grayness. I was bundled up in layers of clothes, beginning my regular walk in early dawn. I was a little later than usual on that particular morning as I opened the door and walked down the driveway to the sidewalk. The wintry morning was quiet except for my boots crunching loudly on the endless snow as I walked past the tall spruce tree. As I passed the tree, it suddenly came alive with song. Startled, I stopped to listen. Deep inside the thickly branched tree, the sparrows had been awakened by some inner alarm clock. These little feathered creatures that I could not see began heralding the dawn with their symphony of cheeps, quickly filling the gray sky with the sparkle of their voices. I stood there amazed, my heart transformed. A smile came as I pondered that usually silent tree, now full of hidden music. The cares and worries of the winter day immediately lost their layers of burden and urgency as I set out on my walk with a lighter heart and a renewed sense of purpose and vitality. As I walked along that morning, I thought of how everyone needs a singing tree in their life. For those gray-burdened days, for those just put one step in front of another days, for those let's just get this over with days, for those I can't take much more of this days. We all need a tree full of sparrow cheeps to lift our hearts into hope and to remind us of the surprising beauty of life. To all, I say this Christmas, look for the singing tree in your life. It may be the squeals and laughter of children, or the guffaws of friends enjoying a good story. It may be the quiet wind in the willows, or the voice of a loved one calling to say hello. It may be the chorus of Glorias heard at a church service, or on the chimes on the back porch. It may be the voice, the source of love in your heart, telling you of your own goodness by a well-satisfied feeling. Or it may be a zillion little sparrows hidden in a wintered spruce tree, chirping their first song of the dawn. This Christmas, listen closely. You may hear a singing tree, and your heart be filled with joy.
Practicing the Scales of Rejoicing by Richard Gilbert. We had forgotten how to sing until the angel voices from mythical realms of glory split the night with their song. We had forgotten how dark and deep the night until the pure light of a birthing star opened our unseeing eyes. We had forgotten the miracle of new life until some unknown poet caught and sang the mystery. How weary our step until the quickening holy day season. How routine our stride before hearing a different song in the night. How burdened with habit, now infused with time-honored freshness. For the time being, eyes see a magical night of joy. For the time being, ears hear melodies of the Spirit over time's tumults. For the time being, hearts comprehend what minds but dully grasp. For the time being is all we have, we who are mortal flesh, somewhere between the triumphant night of birth and the dark day of death we stand. Somewhere between silence of beginning and the eternal deathless silence of ending, we pause. For the time being is all we have for practicing the scales of rejoicing, for singing into the dark and unknown night, for flinging faithful tunes against the cold silence, for beating rhythms of the soul over the cosmic cacophony, for making melodies of meaning in the midst of senseless space, for drawing from constricted voices sounds of joy despite all sadness. For the time being is all we have for practicing the scales of rejoicing.
Music is magic. Music has healing power to inspire and uplift us. Music gets us through hard times and allows us to access our emotions in ways that nothing else can. In particular, joining our voices in song is one of the most energizing things we can do. Think about that feeling when a favorite song comes on the radio in the car and you're turn it up loud and you belt it out, or when in mourning a sad song lets your tears flow freely, or when in solidarity and protest our voices combine in hope for justice and peace. Singing is a source and a manifestation of our collective power and our gathered spirits. Singing is a universal expression of our interconnection, and you don't have to even be really good at it to share in the joy of it. We had great fun here Friday night. We had awesome voices, by the way, but singing Christmas carols and loudly shaking jingle bells, it was incredibly joyful. And during the pandemic, it has been particularly painful to have this sacred gift of connection and joy become a cause for fear and uncertainty between us. We have made the best of things, finding creative ways to make music together across the distance through our screens, making little Hollywood squares of song. The human imagination, thanks for those who are old enough to get that joke. The human imagination and ingenuity are astounding. But there is nothing quite like breathing and singing together within a common sacred space. And the choir, singing in isolation and recording at home, couldn't practice the most important part of singing together, listening and blending. And so we return to the joy of singing in community today, knowing what we know, that well-fitting masks, being in a community with a very high rate of vaccination and having adequate air filtration significantly mitigates our risk of transmitting the virus. And it doesn't eliminate it. Each of us needs to decide the level of risk we're comfortable with and make decisions about where and how we will be. Each of us needs to navigate our way, living lives in a new reality, practicing joy, finding ways to blend our voices and sing in harmony as we can, and protecting ourselves and each other as we must. Before we come to the end of our music service, I want to express my gratitude for Director of Music, Vickie Hellyer. Vickie, for not only your gifts as a musician and a conductor, but your love and your care of the choir and all those who help make music in our community. In this new reality of multi-platform worship, it has been even more demanding on you and her dedicated and generous spouse, John. Yes. They've had to come in early and set up equipment and record on Thursdays and then process those recordings all so we can enjoy these choral performances on Sunday. Thank you both so much. And thank you, Adam, as always, for your technical support and making it possible to share music in the ways that we have. Thank you, Gregory, for offering your tremendous talents, as always. Accommodating many different schedules and staying with us even with the greater demands on your work outside of UCE. And thank you, choristers and section leaders and volunteer and guest musicians who have done so much to lift our spirits and help us feel connected, especially in these very hard times. Thank you to Henry Pless and Charles Hayes, Andy Carpenter, Dale Griffith, Kiley, Korey, and Jen Weisgarver, Rex and Enzo Wallen, and Luke and Carl Monska, who we'll hear in a little bit. May this service, filled with music, the harmony of our voices, and the blessing of our love, vibrate through our souls and move us forward in new hopes and new possibilities. May the songs of love, the music of joy, and the harmonies of liberty continue to resound and guide us on our way.
Please join in saying these words. Though the flame is extinguished, we carry with us the warmth of community, the light of truth, the fire of commitment, until we are together again.
And now, for those words we haven't uttered in a year and 9 months, please join us in singing the following hymn. You are invited to sing this time. Joy to the World, hymns, verses 1 and 2, hymn 245.
Beyond this sacred time and place with a song of love and the music of compassion in our hearts, may we be nourished and strengthened by the messages of hope and possibility here so that we may go out and heal the world. Go making peace, beloveds. And with a song in our heart.